South Florida is a vibe. Been in the water around the same amount of time I've been on land. We head over to Coral Gables to relax in an amazing hotel called the Biltmore. Check it out. We then head over to the International Swimming Hall of Fame, which my dad casually informed me that he's in. We're driving through Boca Raton, we spot some local cougars. Unfortunately though, no time to mingle. We get an amazing Persian dinner with Ethan and then head over to Coconut Creek Casino for some late night shenanigans. The game is 2-5 and we're in for $1,000. First hand of the night, I look down at pocket kings from the hijack. A few limps over to me and I naturally raise it up to $20. We're going to get called in two spots here. The button and the low jack want to go three ways to a flop with me. And it comes queen 6-3 with two clubs. Low jack checks it over to me. I'm out of position to the button. When I'm in between two opponents, I usually start with a check, even with a hand as strong as pocket kings here. Balancing my range, that's what I do. I check and the button now fires out for $20. Low jack gets out of the way, actions back over to me. Do I go for the check raise or the check call? What raises would I have here other than kings and aces? Well, I might do this with pocket queens, sixes, and threes. I do have the king of clubs in my hand, so I elect to go for the smooth call this time, which brings the 9 of diamonds in on the turn. With 112 in the pot, I continue the story and start with a check, and the button does not slow down and check behind like I would expect him to do with a lot of his draws. So when he bets out for $65 and the action is back over to me, I decide to put in the call here, expecting him to have a good amount of value and less of the draws. When I put in the call, the 5 of hearts peels off on the river and there's 242 in the middle. Gonna go for a 10% pot size bet here, a little bit of a weird play, but these 10% pot size bets get opponents to do weird things, and so when I bet out for $25, the opponent now raises me up to 130. Never raising here, and I'm never folding, so that means I'm putting in the call. And sure enough, heart play on the river got rewarded. He just mucks his cards, does not show the table. I'm not going to give him any satisfaction. I muck my cards face down, and we're going to take down that pot. $260 up on the session, and we get some even better news when Ethan finally gets a seat at the 2-5 game, and he's on our direct right. We also see our good buddy Harry B Poker, and Ethan doesn't waste any time before needling him.
Still rocking the medium.
If you guys are new here, hit that subscribe button and join the family. We just broke 40K and we have a new goal in sight. That's 50K. Also, if you guys are Ukrainian, leave a comment down below. I'm 25% and definitely want to build a community of Ukrainians here in this hard time. So with that being said, let's jump back into the hands. 1250 in our stack, we look down at king jack of spades from the cutoff and the action folds over to me. I open it up for $15 and the button and the big blind both put in the call. We're going in between two opponents again to a 9-4 deuce with two spades flop. Pretty great for us, and the big blind checks it over to me. I stick with the plan and check it over to the button, and let's see what he does. He fires out for $20. Big blind puts in the call, and I could go for the check raise here with my 2 overs and backdoor straight and flush ideas, but I elect to just toss in 4 red chips, and that brings in the turn card, which is the 5 of spades. We turn the flush. Absolute gin card for us, and the big blind checks it over to me. I think betting out here into the button would just announce the strength of my hand too much, so I check it over to him, hoping he goes for another bet, and he obliges. He bets out for $25. So when the big blind gets out of the way and the action's back over to me, would you guys go for the check raise or the check call here with the flush? I elect to go for the check raise and bump up the size of the pot right now. I want to make a chunky bet on the river if he calls us here on the turn. So $80 is the price of poker. Probably could have sized up for around 100 or 125, but he decides to put in the call, and that brings in the river. When the river doesn't pair the board, I like my hand a lot. It comes the 8 of diamonds, and there's 267 in the middle. Do we go for the 10% pot size bet again here? Do we go for half pot, or do we go for the full pot size bet? I elect to go for the third option, actually overbetting the pot, 300 into 267. So put a lot of pressure on any of his straights or sets. I like my bet here. Opponent does not feel the same way. He mucks his card, so unfortunately we can't get any more value in that hand. We're going to take down the 260 $67 pot and up $400 on the session. Things are going pretty swimmingly until our good buddy Ethan is being asked to leave the casino. Well, not asked, he's actually being forced. The floor has come over twice now and told him to stop filming. And not only that, they bring over a crowd control specialist because who knows if Ethan's going to get rowdy and start to put up a fight. We're still at our table and we see Ethan begrudgingly cashing out his chips. Bummer that we came here with Mariano, Harry, and Ethan. We lost one of the vloggers. We're down to 3 now. Harry promptly fills the seat to my right that Ethan used to be in, so that's at least some good news, but let's see how I was feeling in the moment. So that really just happened, boys. Ethan just got kicked out for filming. I'm gonna keep trying to piece together this vlog. Right now we have 2 hands, seeing if we can get to 8. That's usually the threshold, so I'm not gonna let Ethan go down in flames. I'm gonna put him on my back now and see if I can't make a video. Let's go. It's time to grind. We have 1,400 in our stack. We look down at the beautiful 10-9 of clubs from the under the gun +1 position. Harry in the under the gun position raises it up to $20. I put in the call and the button does as well. We're going 3 ways to the flop. Flop's a decent one for us. It comes Queen 8-4 with 2 clubs. We have the gutter to the straight flush, so life is pretty good, and Harry bets out for $30. Action's back over to me. I put in the call for $30 and the button now raises to $90. What does he have here? Does he have pocket 4s, pocket 8s, queen 8, maybe pocket queens? I don't know, definitely a strange raise here considering I have 2 clubs in my hand, but when Harry puts in the call, obviously I'm not folding my gutter to the straight flush. I toss in a few more green chips and we're off to a pretty bloated pot here on the turn, looking for a jack or a club, but that doesn't come. It comes a 6 of hearts and there's 330 in the middle. Expecting Harry to check it over to me. That's what he does. I'm never donking into the button here when he goes for the raise on the flop. So I check it over to him, hoping he keeps it fairly small so I can see a cheap river. The button bets out for a little over half pot for $175, and I'm interested to see what Harry does. If it's between just me and the button, I have an interesting decision, but when Harry puts in the 175, I have no other choice but to just toss in the call, flicking in a bunch of green chips, and we're off to a river in a nearly $900 pot, which gives us a pair. Comes a 10 of spades, not a club, not a jack. We're not really loving life, although we do have some showdown value now. Let's see if we can get to a showdown. Harry checks it over to me, I check it to the button, and he rips it all in for his remaining $150. Harry puts in the call, and I begrudgingly muck my cards face up, letting the table know I had a bunch of outs. The button turns over queen 8, so one of those hands that I mentioned on the flop that he could have, and Harry turns over pocket aces, could not counterfeit the 2 pair with any 4, 6, or an ace, so the button gets rewarded with that pot, that nearly $1,200 pot, and now we're up stuck on the session, only up $215, but no worries, we look down at pocket 10s from the small blind. Middle position opens it up to $10, and Harry to our right 3 bets to 35. Do we come in for the cold 4 bet, or do we just flat call Harry? I think I like a 4 bet considering we're in the small blind and he's on the button. I'll be playing the hand out of position. Somewhere around $140 to $160 seems appropriate, but I decided to go set mining here and toss in $35. Middle position strangely gets out of the way, and we're going heads up with Harry to a flop, which comes Jack 7-6 with 2 spades. Flopping second pair is decent. Obviously, I'm going to check it over to him with almost my entire range, and Harry says something funny to the table.
I forgot what I had.
You have like ace jack?
Sure, I think this is a good check.
We go into a little bit of a banter here back and forth, and then he decides to check behind.
I think this is a good check.
Bang! The 8 of hearts comes on the turn, and I give him a bang, trying to let him know that I have a good hand. I check it over to him for a second time. Maybe I'm trapping him, who knows? Let's see what he decides to do. $92 out there, he bets out for $30, and I just decide to flat call here. I have a gutter to the straight, and I still have second pair. It should be good here a good portion of the time. So when the 8 of clubs peels off on the turn, not really a card that scares me too much, but I'm not going to be leading into him when he decides to bet the turn. I check it over to him. He now goes for a strange polarizing bet of $100 into the $150 pot. Could he be doing this with missed spades? Yes. Could he be doing this with 2 pair like 6-7? Well, the good news is I do actually counterfeit that, having 10s and 8s, so I decide to look him up here, not really believing the story that he's telling. I toss in 1 black chip for $100, expecting to be good here until he turns over ace 8 of spades. That's definitely unfortunate. He's going to take down that $350 pot, but it's going to a good place. Hey sir, can you please have done with this? Oh shit. $900 now in our stack. We're down below our starting of $1,000. I look down at ace-5 of clubs from the small blind and I raise it up to $20 over one limper, and the big blind now re-raises to $75. Out of position is not great, but I do have ace-5 of clubs, which is definitely a good hand, so I decided to toss in the additional $50, and we're off to a flop which comes 7-9-6, giving us a gutter to the straight and the backdoor club draw. Naturally, I'm going to check it over to the big blind, and let's see what he does. He decides to check behind. That's music to my ears, and even better is the ace of spades coming in on the turn, giving me top pair and some great showdown value here. I decide to check it over to him for a second time. If I bet into the opponent, he could raise us and put us in a tough spot with any of his stronger aces. Betting into him pretty much says we have a strong hand like a set, two pair, or we turned an ace. So I decide to check it over to him, and he now bets half pot for $75. Obviously, when we turn top pair, I'm not going to be folding. I toss in 3 green chips, and we're off to the 6 of clubs on the river. Pairing the board gives us 2 pair, but in the grand scheme of things, it shouldn't really change too much. If I was ahead on the turn, I'm still going to be ahead on the river, so I check it over to the opponent for a third time. 307 out there, and he goes for a $130 bet. It really smells like value. If he has me beat, it's going to be a better ace. I don't really expect him to check a flop set on a very draw-heavy board, so if he has the better ace, I'm going to have to see it. I toss in the $130. And sure enough, he turns over ace-king, so I kind of expected that, but I still needed him to show me. We're stuck $380 on the session. Can we wrap this session up with a bang? We look down at ace-queen offsuit from the button, one limp over to me, and the hijack now pops it up to $20. I'm stuck in the session, and I have a good hand, so I come in for a 3-bet to $60, and the opponent puts in the call. Going heads up to a flop here with 132 in the middle, and it comes jack high, jack 6-7 with 2 hearts. I do have the queen of hearts in my hand. Hijack checks it over to me. That's pretty standard. You know what else is pretty standard? A c-bet for $50, and that gets the job done. I'm going to take down that $132 pot. Nice to end the session with a win, and I turn over the bluff for the table. With that being said, we rack up our chips and head to the cage. I'm trying out a new thing in the top left corner. Let me know if you guys like it, or if you want me to incorporate it mid-video as well, so you can see the hands that I played in the past.
Alright you guys, that wraps up our 2-5 session here. An eventful one at that. We did end up getting 4 more hands after they kicked Ethan out, which is pretty crazy because they asked him, Mariano, to stop filming. Never asked me, never got a warning, so I kept going until I got that warning. Harry was filming next to me the whole time. Shout out to Harry for all the cool B-roll that you've seen. If you haven't subscribed to him already, I'll put a link down below. He's a cool guy. Got into the game for 1,000, never added on, was up to 1,400 before things did not go well. Out for 708, loss of 292 on the session. As always, good luck on the felt. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.
Thanks for watching to the end of my video. Click my head below to subscribe and stay in the loop. See you next time.